I'm back because we got a lot going on energetically. We have the full moon this Monday, but we also are in a Mercury retrograde, and we're also in a Venus retrograde right now. Both are very powerful and can be advantageous for us. But you know what most people think about retrogrades? What most people think about retrogrades, y'all? I'm doing this video because we got some people in here and they're like, talk about Mercury retrograde, because the way it unfolded in my life.
Yeah, everything's gonna go haywire.
And that's kind of the general consensus when retrogrades come around. It's like, oh man, hide the kids, hide the mamas, the women and the children. You know? Like, let's go into hiding. We're gonna go on a hiatus for how many weeks? But y'all do know that, right? You do more than 3. So let's start there. The retrogrades are, and when I talk about, so I decided to go live, so I'm really talking to the people in here. So if y'all see me not looking at y'all, that's the reason why, because I'm actually talking to the individuals in here. But I thought you all may want to be a part of the conversation. So let's start with what is a retrograde, because a lot of people think the planet is actually going backwards. Retrograde, when they talk about retrogrades, first of all, they're talking about the planets. The planets go in a cycle. In their observation, they're seeing at some times planets going backwards. That's what it looks like, but that's not actually what's happening. It's that when you have a multiple amount of anything going in a cycle, at some point, things are gonna either align or lag behind, but they're still just in a cycle. So that's first and foremost. It's not actually going backwards, but the fact that, depending on, if you listen to astrology, you hear them say the moon is square this, this one is in alignment with this. They're talking about the cycle. They're talking about what's happening and what you see. And when you look at those circular charts that most people look at and go, what is that? It's showing you what's happening at different times during the moon cycle and during the year. So now, that's the scientific, the technical. So when you do see, a retrograde is coming, it still is impacting the energy. The way that it's positioned with the other planets and in the cycle, the flow, it is impacting the energy. And so when it impacts the energy, it impacts us. Everything in the cosmos impacts us. Every single thing. If you take an astrology 101 class, the very first thing they tell you is that all the planets impact us in a certain way. So Mercury impacts us in a certain way. Venus impacts us in a certain way. The sun impacts us in a certain way. Everything has an impact on us. If you want to learn more about that, let me just throw this out there to everybody in here and online. There's an app that I use that I like. I'm not sponsored by them, but hey, if they ever catch this video, I would love to be sponsored by you because I always shout you out. But the app is Time Passages. One word, Time Passages app. I like that app. I've used that app, so I tend to tell people about it. That app it follows the 12 sign astrology, which of course there's other systems of astrology, but that is a 12 sign astrology app and it's free. You can get your natal chart on there. I'm mentioning this for a reason. You can get your natal chart on there for free, and it's going to also have areas where you can go and learn. So you can go on the app and hit learn, and you can learn more about the moon phases, the planets, everything. Because basically this app is connected to, I think, astrology.com or something like that. One of the websites that's really good. So now, I mentioned that because when the retrogrades do come around, and you see that there's this lag, this perceived lag, and it is impacting you, look at the planet that's retrograding, and that'll tell you what you need to be working on. That's why I'm mentioning that. Because right now, because Mercury and Venus is in retrograde, I would suggest you go to your chart and look at your Mercury and look at your Venus and see what's in there, and that's going to tell you what your work is. That leads me to tell you that these retrogrades are times for us to do our personal work. And if we're not focused on that, which is in alignment, because all we're here to do, let me be very clear, we ain't here for all of the stuff. That's not what we're here for. We're here to be divine beings. And that means we're here to know what's going on above, to be in tune like our ancestors were, and we're able to build these amazing things that we still talk about today, and we're so amazed by them. And some people say aliens did it, and it's so amazing that people can't even fathom that a human can do it. But the human did it because they were in alignment with the ultimate power stream. So they were able to channel formulas and all of these different things to help do these things. That is amazing. But that's what happens when you're in tune. You get these divine, amazing downloads. And it's like, oh man, sis, how you knew to do that? Bro, how you knew to? Because I got this divine message. Oh, really? So you got a divine message? The humble human's not going to get with it. That's okay. Leave the humble humans where they are if you're ready to be a divine being. Those who are paying attention to the cosmos know that, first of all, have clearly noticed that you are a divine being, that this stuff impacts us in some kind of way. It's not a fluke. The first level of it, you hear it, it resonates, you kind of believe it, but you still think it's mystical or magic. The second level to it is you clearly see that this is real. That during these times and during this, when this is happening, when that is happening, is a good time to do this and that. You see it because you've put it in practice. Now it goes from believing it to you know it. When you know, and Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde and all these Pluto retrograde, all of those come around, you know it's time for you to align and do your work. My work is not your work on Mercury retrograde. I have different work. How I know my work is I go into my natal chart. One, how I know my work is I pay attention to my life. I'm aware of what's going on in my life. How I know is I give myself time to sit still and be quiet so spirit can speak to me. So I may go into my daily devotion during Mercury retrograde and go, may my work be revealed to me. What is it that I need to be focusing on right now? And I don't go in and ask this impatient child or student for an immediate answer. But sometimes it comes immediately, like, this is what you need to be doing. Like, it's not a voice. I can't really tell you what spirit is like. You got to kind of spend time with spirit to know what that is. Sometimes it's just an intuitive feeling, a notion, a message, something you read. So that's how you know your work during the Mercury retrograde and Venus and Pluto and any planet retrograde. Now let's address the chaos, because that's what many people know retrogrades as. This chaotic period, so let me hide. Or let me just be still, let me just, you're definitely not thinking about the work you need to be doing. You more so in fear. First and foremost, divine beings never need to be fearful, ever. We have nothing, literally nothing to fear. Why? It's because we are divine beings. We're divine beings. And so that means we understand that everything is in divine order. Literally everything is in divine order. So if you see something that your human mind, your sense mind cannot figure out, and you start to introduce fear, you're creating the chaos. But when you approach life, no matter what is unfolding, with the knowing that everything is in divine order, now you're in alignment to actually see the lesson and the blessing in things. So that accident and the backed up for 2-hour situation during the Mercury retrograde look different to you than the next man who thinking about Mercury retrograde as this doom. You know that there's some good and God in it. So you may immediately go, well, why is this making me be still right now? What is, or you may look over here and see a billboard that says something that you need, a message you need. Or you may look over here and your boo thing, who you gonna marry in the next 3 years, is in the next car and he wink at you. It's something. I'm speaking that into my existence. I will take every opportunity to speak. Oh, I cracked myself up. Okay, but real talk, it may be your boo thing. say, not just brothers, I'm talking to you too. Your queen may be right in the next door and she may be like, give you the little hints and you see it. But anyway, you get the point. That 2-hour backup, there's good and God in it for you versus the person who just think about retrogrades as this. Anytime you're in fear, you miss your blessing. Anytime it's blasphemous for you to think in fear, because then you're saying, I don't believe that I'm a divine being. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why when people go to get readings or they look at their natal chart or they look at their horoscope and all you hear, if your reader is giving you all the doom, you need another reader, because there is no doom. I don't believe in good and bad. All is just is. It's either in alignment with you or it's not in alignment with you. It's either in balance with you or it's not in balance with you. It's not good and bad. All is good. I believe in good. I don't believe in bad. That is blasphemous to me, because then you're saying, well, God is good except when like how?
That's a better way to put it.
How? Well, Queen, and we can go down the road because I've been asked many times before. So you saying that the flood that happened and the earthquake that happened, you're not ready for me to have the conversation with you. That part, right? Yeah. She gave me the finger like that part. You're not ready to have the conversation with me, so I'm not gonna have it. So yes, in your consciousness, it is bad now. Yes, it is bad for you. But in my consciousness, no, it's not bad for me. Because I live from a place of divine consciousness. That's where I live. So I'm going to look for it. Even if I don't see it, I'm going to look for it. And because my prayers is constantly, may I see the good in everything, the good always reveals itself to me, possibly quicker than it reveals itself to you. And so I'm possibly always ahead of the game than you. I'm possibly always more prosperous than you. I'm possibly always more happy and fruitful than you. So sorry. But there's a way for you to get there. You got to go Godward. You got to raise your consciousness. That's what raising consciousness is about. We got fooled to think it's about knowing a lot of stuff. Then, oh, he's conscious. Oh, she's conscious. Many who feel they are conscious are absolutely not conscious at all. Period. Well, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the retrogrades. So, retrogrades are time for us to do our work. And right now, we're in a Mercury retrograde and a Venus retrograde. In short, first of all, I'm not going to give you all the tea because I want you to go do your own work. Okay, first of all, I just gave you the tea. It's a Mercury retrograde and it's a Venus retrograde. So the thing I would tell you to do is get familiar with Mercury energy and get familiar with Venus energy. That's the first thing I would tell you to do. The second thing I would tell you to do is go into your natal charts and look in your Mercury and look in your Venus to see what work is there. What do I mean by what work is there? If you go into a good natal chart, it's going to say, you benefit from doing this. You need, it may say things like, you hard-headed or you, I mean, they ain't gonna say hard-headed, but I'm just saying, it'll say like, you always doing this or you always doing that. And it's true. So don't be like, nah, that ain't me. Yes, it is. It's you. So it'll also, most good natal charts, especially if you get your natal chart from the app that I just mentioned, it'll say you benefit from doing this, this, and this. So now during this time, you probably should be doing this, this, and this. You feel me? So that's kind of the benefit of knowing that. Same way with Venus. But Mercury in short is a lot about communication. Venus in short is about love and relationships. In short, that's very short because it's about more than that. But in short, communication and Venus is love and relationships. So I wanted to do this video just to talk about retrograde and or invite those who are live here, and we're all live too. I'm about to flip it around. Don't be shy, y'all. Just wave, okay? Look like I ain't got y'all hostage. All right, that's all I require. Don't look like I got your hostage, okay? But somebody came in and they asked, can I talk about retrograde? But the main thing I would love, and I pray that we take away from this chat, is that all is good. Some people are a little resistant to the word God. No worries. All is good. Good is what I call God, what I call grace, what I call divine. All is divine. All is good. All is God. All is grace. It's all there for it, but it is how you think about it. If you don't think about it in that manner, it won't be for you. So you want to know how to stop the chaos in your life during the retrogrades? Stop manifesting it. First of all, you change your mind, you change the matter around you. Thoughts become things. So if you think that Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, Pluto retrograde, if I say Mercury retrograde and I see you flinch and you go, oh Lord, it's about to be rough for you. I don't know what to tell you. So change your mind about it. I see people literally go, oh, what, where, what? Now before I go, let me say the things that I am careful about during Mercury retrograde. I tend to not make large purchases during Mercury retrograde. If you make a large purchase and you lose, now I'm paying attention now to who walked in. Your mini-me not with you today. Oh, he's in the car. If you make a purchase and you lose, it's going to come back. Anything that you quote unquote lose in Mercury retrograde, it comes back. As a matter of fact, some things you lost years ago, guess what is going to roll back around during the Mercury retrograde? Thank God. It's been so many. My son can bear witness. You remember the wallet? Yeah. The wallet you lost and it had like $200 in it. It was how many years? Maybe like 2 years. And what I kept saying to you? What I kept saying?
It's gonna come back.
It's gonna come back during the Mercury retrograde. I kept saying it's gonna come back during the Mercury retrograde. During the Mercury retrograde, it came back. And it came back in this miraculous way. And it came, so that was everything nothing that is yours is ever lost. So I'm saying that to say, if you have to make a large purchase during the Mercury retrograde, if you do find that you have a loss or something, it's gonna come back. It's not a loss. But know that there's a potential that something may happen. So don't be expecting of something happen, but just be aware. So if something happened, you don't freak out. Oh my God, relax. Just be like, okay, Mercury, all right. So I'm gonna have to wait because you chose to make that decision. So just if you choose, sometimes that happens. You know, I'm an executive coach too, so I work with businesses, and sometimes they choose to do moves that I'd be like, it's Mercury retrograde right now. I don't think you should go into that contract right now, but we got to, we on the deadline. I'm gonna just tell you right now, we're in Mercury retrograde. So if something, okay, we're prepared. We're prepared for the, and they're prepared for whatever happens. But guess what? It's always a struggle. They end up going. It's always a push and pull. I choose not to deal with the push and pull. If I don't really need it, I'm not going to make the purchase. I'm not going to sign a contract. I'm not going to take the job. Because Mercury retrograde is known to have an effect on contracts, money, big purchases, technology. This is not the time to buy a printer, buy a computer, buy a car, this is not a time to do that. Just because if you purchase it, it might have a problem. But the problem will clear up. Just know that. So if you have to, it'll clear up. The other thing is communication. This is not the time to get frustrated and get a divorce. This is not a time. This is not the time to end your whole 10-year relationship because this ain't the time. This ain't the time to have that conversation with your mama. It's not the time, okay? Because communication tends to be off. What goes with communication also, emails, this is not the time for you to email. So preferably pick up the phone and call people. Texting, pick up the phone, call people. Don't text. The communication may be off. Also, emails can get lost in the sauce. You can send that email and it's lost. Why am I saying this? Not for you to be like, I ain't gonna email, I ain't gonna talk to nobody. I'm gonna just go mute for no. Be aware. So make sure that email went through. If it's a very important email, then follow up. You see? So it's like you're not living in fear, you're living intentionally. That's the whole cue about it. So now is your time to go do your research. Go look up Mercury energy, see what's Mercury energy all about. Look up Venus energy, see what Venus energy is all about, because both of them are in retrograde for the rest of this month. Venus goes out of retrograde at the end of this month, but Mercury retrograde, as y'all know, is here up until February sometime. I can't remember the absolute date. Yeah. So now, before I close, let me clear that up. Mercury retrograde is not just during the retrograde. There's a shadow at the front part of it, and there's a shadow at the end part of it. It's that entire period. As a matter of fact, the end part, the post retrograde, the shadow, is just as potent as the beginning of the retrograde. So I look at the retrogrades for the entire period. I think it's like 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after. Right. So really retrograde is more than 3 or 4. It's like 5 or 7 or something. So so you know, when you look up, and guess you can go on Google and put in Mercury retrograde calendar so you can be familiar. And if you download that app Time Passages, when you open it, I tend to open it every day during my devotion period just to see what moon phase it in, know what's going on or whatever. If you open it daily, it'll tell you what's happening. So that's how I found out this time, because I don't tend to like really stay so confound to it. I know it'll come up in my consciousness at some point during it. But the Time Passage app had the RX, which means retrograde. And that's that. Fun fact. The RX, the symbol for retrograde, is the medicine. Yeah, if you pay attention, it's that medicine. Why? Because retrogrades it's our medicine. It's our time to do our work, to revisit all the reads. I didn't say that yet. All of the reads is the time for retrograde. Do revisit, redo, reconcile, relax, revitalize, rejuvenate, you know, rethink it, re. So that's the time to kind of go back and revisit those plans, revisit those vision boards, revisit that conversation, that's that time. But doing stuff that's new, or doing new ideas, not a good time for that. It's time to kind of go back, close out the things that you haven't closed out, revisit those conversations you had before, rethink that business plan, remember, re. And that's the medicine. Look at that. The symbol for retrograde is medicine. That's the medicine. That's what cleans things up. That's what brings things to balance. When you do those reads, when you rethink, when you redo, when you reflect, when you sit down and be still and calm down and relax, that's the medicine. Because when we ain't doing that, Lord, we be in the way. Lord, help us, Lord. We be scared. Oh, how we gonna do it? It's already done. It's already done. Why are you scared if it's already done? Oh, ye of little faith. You know, get your faith up. It's the time to get your faith up, because, you know, it's already done. You just got to be prepared for the journey to it. That's all. That's our job. Be prepared for the journey to it. Don't be walking around tense and scared. Just travel the journey, because guess what's in the journey? Lessons and blessings. It's all in the journey. Everything is already done. Remember that. Everything is already done. Now it's time for the journey. That's the message for this year. Everything that's happened cosmically is saying that everything is done. But in order for you to get that what you keep on wanting and that you ain't seeing it really, is you got to get yourself in alignment. Get yourself in alignment. So the retrograde is a good time to get yourself in alignment. That's all I got for you. Peace and love, y'all. Peace, y'all who tuned in live.